A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to La Molina for the final day of the World Para-Alpine Skiing World Cup here in gorgeous, sunny Spain. It is the final day of the World Cup today. We head to Molina for the World Cup finals very, very shortly. But before that, we've got one more slalom race to complete. We had slalom here yesterday, and it was action-packed. Let's see who picked up those gold medals. Yeah, thank you very much, Alan. Down at the finish line here, I've taken my coat off. It's nice and hot down here, and two girls who are on fire on the slope were you guys. Veronica, Elizabeth, congratulations on the win. The first time we've seen you since Zagreb. How nice is it to be back and on top of the podium?
Yes, I'm very happy. The snow was very soft and the run was not easy, but we are very happy that we can win this race.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alan. Here with our winner, Alta Brochet. Arta, you've enjoyed La Molina. You tasted defeat for the very first time yesterday. How nice is it to bounce back today in the slalom with a really fast ski?
Yeah, I did a good ski in the first run. The second I was really dead. I don't do my ski, but it was enough to keep a victory, so I'm really happy.
Some brilliant highlights from yesterday, as you can see, and great to see some new winners on the podium as well. Not exactly new, but revisiting winners. Jesper Pedersen, one of those, back on top of the podium in the slalom. Can he hold on today? We are about to find out as we head into run number one. It's time to head over to your race commentator for the day. He's Alan March.
It might be the last day, but don't be fooled. Stephen Jameson wasn't crying. It's just the sun in his eyes. His sun has been out all the way through La Molina's events. Beautiful skies, beautiful scenery, and Stephen Jameson. If you want to get in touch with us, maybe you could put an emoji of a smiley face, just like that, in the snow with acorns and twigs. Hashtag Para-Alpine is what you need. At Para-Alpine to follow us on all of the social media links. Pine cones was the word I was looking for. Acorns was just what was in my mind. -3 this morning, but it is going to get up to a balmy -15 to 18. We're told a little bit later on. We don't mind. Once we finish, the snow can all melt away. We'll have done, we'll have been dusted, and we'll have left heading towards France. .200 metres drop, 55 gates, 52 of those are turning, set by Benjamin Deur from the French team here at the Roc Blanc Stade. Six events as always, 3 for the men, 3 for the ladies first. And we'll start, as always, with the women's VI event. Vision-impaired athletes. Veronica Eigner, Melissa Perrine and Menna Fitzpatrick. It's been an interesting little battle between these three on the last couple of days. Fitzpatrick didn't have the best of first runs. Veronica Eigner had a great first run, only to be surpassed by Mel Perrine. The 16-year-old certainly has got the rest of the Women's VI Tour talking. We'll have returns for Millie Knight next season. Got Falkasova and Subotova from Slovakia. Henrietta Falkasova out with an injury at the moment, so get well soon. But they'll all have this lady to worry about when they return. Understanding is that both Fitzpatrick and Perrine may take the year off next year as well. It's a non-world champs year and come back fresh the following year, and also that's heading towards the next Winter Games as well. It soon comes by. Eigner guided by her sister Elizabeth. As I was saying yesterday, they have siblings, twin siblings, these two, who are also competing in Para-Alpine. So very, very sporting family indeed. And Eigner gets across the line very neatly and safely. Bobby Kelly at the front, Melissa Perrine, or Mel to her friends. Been a good first year together. A World Championship performing year. They've had all manner of medals, World Cup successes as well. Hasn't been a bad year for the Australian Mel Perrine at all. See the guide's job to get as close to those gates without knocking them. That's the athlete's prerogative. Bobby paving the way for Mel, who just takes a little slide. She was already behind. And 1.54 is the difference, but Perrine didn't start at the top of the pile yesterday. Jen Keogh gets away. And Fitzpatrick, 20. Jen Keogh now 35, but thoroughly enjoying being in this partnership despite that 15 years gap. These two really do get on well together. For some strange reason, they were asking me for food advice yesterday, but there you go. That's not going to happen very often. More of a restaurant than healthy food advice. Patrick just off the pace. World Championship bronze medalist. Again, some of the VI athletes will struggle with things like going from shade to light, and that's exactly what we have here. There's no cloud cover whatsoever, so the shadows of the trees can cause real issues for a VI skier, depending on their impairment and their level of impairment. And it's a rough morning for Menna Fitzpatrick and Jen Keogh, some 7 seconds back. So the British pairing in a similar position to yesterday, struggling off the pace of Perrine and Eigner. The battle is between Australia and Austria. And we'll have the second run a little bit later on. Don't forget this afternoon's, or well, This late morning's second run starts at 11:15 today, not 11:30 as it has been the last few days. Here are the ladies in the standing event. Fred Turgeon came into La Molina as the leader after successes in Zagreb. She's still the leader, but she knows full well that Marie Bochet is already gaining on her. Victory yesterday for Bochet. All Turgeon can do is continue to put in good performances. What she doesn't need is a DNF. What she needs is Bochet to slip up, but that's a little bit like a unicorn. It's a myth. Although if there are any kids watching, unicorns of course are real. Turgeon making her way down, one of the single leg skiers on the course, and some people often feel like the single leg skiers struggle against the upper limb impairment. Well, Turgeon turning that thought process upside down. Whilst we don't have any male single leg skiers in the upper echelons of the standing category, Turgeon is certainly putting herself into the top rankings in the women's section. Only Bochet has bettered her in recent days. 57.94 is a time that she has now set for the rest. The young Canadian scoots off, and we're joined by just as young a German, Anna Maria Rieder, who was second in the World Cup standings coming into La Molina after her performances in Zagreb. She's done a fair amount of the World Cup circuit as Rieder. The opportunity to get out and compete for the youngster. Remember, it's very difficult for some of the athletes in their late teens to be out on the circuit all the time. Schooling and colleges and universities, etc. Academic studies for some mean that only a minimal amount of time is allowed. But Rieder this season certainly making the most of it, looking good through this section. Really finding a nice rhythm, Anna Maria Rieder. Again, just the use of the ski pole in the right hand. 57.94 has gone away, but Rieder will hit the line cleanly in 101.35. Now, Inga Schmidt from Switzerland. Another that has an impairment, meaning there is no use of ski poles. A fair few athletes who fit into that category. Raquel Martinez Muniz is another a little bit later on. James Whitley and Martin Franzer, who aren't here in La Molina, but if you've been following the circuit, you'll know that neither of those use any ski poles. Schmidt 3.36 seconds down early doors. She'll be behind everybody else at this stage. 107.71 for Schmidt. Alana Ramsey, fourth place finisher at the World Championships, 24 years old, originally from Calgary. She is inside her compatriot's time. 0.17 isn't the biggest of margins, but it's good so far from Ramsey. Bochet and Kunkel still to come, so competition behind Bochet has certainly closed up a little bit here in La Molina in recent days. Exciting duo from Canada, as well as the young American and German leader. So whilst Boucher is enjoying being up front, there was a real genuine tussle behind. 57.94 is going to get away from Ramsey, so bottom half of the course is where Turgeon has showed her strength. 2.14 is the difference for Ramsey from the leader. Talking of leaders, you are a young skier, para or not. This is a lady to pay attention to and learn a few things. It's sometimes effortless, or at least that's the way she makes it seem. And certainly 2019 has been faultless so far. I'm not going to try and jinx this because Boucher has to race in her home country yet, and part of me says that the sport really can be quite wicked, but wicked is the time. 55.92 from Boucher. Can she do an entire season flawlessly? We'll find out. Ali Kunkel looked really good yesterday. Kunkel, been very impressed with her performances here in La Molina. Now she's finding herself down in this early stage, but she's one of those athletes where you watch them and you think, yeah, you're giving it absolutely everything. Mitch Gawley, great example of that in the men's category. Oh, and Kunkel has brought herself to a halt. Now it's about finding a rhythm at the bottom that will allow her to put in a decent second run. She DNF'd in the second run yesterday. Oh, and Kunkel is going to try and climb back up here because she's desperate for the World Cup points and will get the right side of that gate. Not sure whether that'll get reviewed for the ones she clattered into, but Kunkel showing us her desire to make sure she finishes here today. And through the line she comes. Well, 16.79 is going to be an awfully big challenge, but we had a fair few DNFs yesterday. Kunkel has to close her eyes and hope for the best a little bit later on. Ami Hondo. Now normally, you see Ami Hondo in a pink helmet. Not today, for whatever reason. Again, just the use of the single ski pole in the right hand. Some 4 and a bit seconds. Hondo already coming up to the 57-second marker set by Turgeon. We're going to be well outside a minute, so she's dropping down. And she will go into 5th position. Ami Hondo, a little shake of the head there, which would explain the time. Not happy with that at all. Here's Mel Pemble. Ran into Mel at the Canadian team hotel this morning. Seemed pretty relaxed as she headed off out the door to join Fred Turgeon on the minibus. Good spirit between the Canadians. They all had a lot of fun the other day with Braden Luscombe's retirement run. Denim jacket that Luscombe wears during that run. It's something to do with the team. Haven't quite managed to get to the bottom of it yet. I've seen various amounts of athletes wearing it. I'm sure one of the Canadians will explain it to me in full at some point. Pemble to the line then, 107.65. Some of these ladies finding this first slalom run pretty tricky. That's 11 seconds off. from Pemble. There's the scream from Ursula Marimo. Spaniard frustrated at going out yesterday. You're looking to put two solid runs together on the final day of her home World Cup. Another single leg skier, and for those that have never watched Para-Alpine before, using the outriggers very similar to what the sit ski athletes would use, just to give them an extra bit of balance and stability. Here, Ursula giving herself some self-encouragement. 35-year-old, amputee above the knee. And she's down on the course, but she's so close to the finish. Manamon will get up here and make sure she finishes, because it was just a matter of gates left. So Manamon does eventually get across the line in 1:25.15. This is Raquel Martinez Muniz. Again, we talked about athletes like Vinja Smit and Martin Franzer without the use of ski poles, so all about the lower body for Muniz. He's doing this with cerebral palsy in both upper and lower limbs, so tremendous efforts from Muniz. We say this on most days, but it is important for people perhaps who don't watch parasport all that regular to remember that a lot of athletes out on this circuit are challenging themselves in many different ways. It isn't just about the medals. People like Ali Konkul desperate for points to try and progress her career. Bochet, it's about perfecting. Turgeon is getting stronger all the time, but Muniz, it's about demonstrating that despite having cerebral palsy in both legs and arms, that she can ski a World Cup course, and she has. 1:24 is her time. She looks across at the clock. And she's the final athlete in the women's standing section to go then. Bochet leads from Turgeon. The battle for first and second seems quite simple. The one for bronze a little bit more difficult. Alana Ramsey, Anna Maria Rida taking on the challenge. A few struggles for Hondo, Pemble and Kunkel, as we now turn our attentions to the women's sitting category. Annalena Forster, Laurie Stevens and Momoka Muraoka. And here is the current World Cup leader, the current world champion and the current Paralympic champion as well. Does that mean she's good at slalom? Yes. Yes, it does. Still in her early 20s, Annalena Forster. 23 to be precise. Lives in Freiburg. Made her debut back in 2012. Born without a right leg. Also missing bones in her left leg as well. Paralympic champion of the slalom and the super combined. Forster, Muraoka, Schaffelhuber, certainly the big three names in the sit ski division as well. Can't go by without saying hello to Tori Pendergast, who I'm sure he's watching on at home in Australia, having finished her season. Forster finishes her race Makes her way to the bottom. We will head back to the top because Laurie Stevens should be next to go. There she is. .23.80 was the time for Forster. 2006 double Paralympic champion Stevens. Finding herself some 5 seconds off at the moment. Interesting to watch the first year after a major games. A lot of retirements, new names. Stevens being one of the constants. 107.44 her time in the first run. Muraoka. Dominant in the giant slalom, the 21-year-old, having problems here with the slalom. She did say to Stephen Jameson in one of her interviews earlier in the week that she wasn't particularly looking forward to this, but she knows she has to try and improve. Being out there and racing is pretty much the best way of doing it. Nothing wrong with her giant slalom. Absolutely dominated the World Cup season in that one. Okay. Heading down neatly. Be well behind Forster, but in front of Stevens. So Annalena Forster looks to have this one wrapped up already, as long as she doesn't make a mistake in the second run. Forster should take this at a canter from Muraoka, and Stevens in third position. So Annalena Forster looks like she's in for an easy day on the final day here in La Molina. That's the women's races done for now. They'll be back when we start again at 11:15, but we've got the men's events to come here this morning as well. 6 athletes going in the men's vision-impaired category. Let's go and catch up with the action. Marek Kubatska will get us going. The only B1 athlete in the category. That's his classification. So his goggles are completely blacked out. See from that camera angle. In front of him is Maria Zratovikova. That's his guide, and on the back of Maria is a speaker. So communication for Marek is the sound and the instructions from Maria. Slalom, the most difficult for Marek Kubatska. He is the giant slalom world champion. Heroic display of skill and effort during the World Championships, but Marek will tell you that slalom itself gives up far more challenges. The tighter turns, the more turns in such a short space means that he really does have to take it a lot slower, and you can see the effort going in from Marek. You can hear the constant instructions from Maria. 30 years old now. He lost his vision when he was just 9. A spray can exploded in his face whilst he was attending a barbecue in the countryside. Well, Marek has turned that adversity 21 years ago into becoming a world champion. It's previous sort of 8 years with Maria. They've started to perfect their partnership, the trust levels. Marek knows that everything Maria is saying, if he follows it, he has the chance to be a winner. The world champion on giant slalom, Marek Kubacka, will get to the line in this slalom run in 1:01.06. There's a chuckle of laughter from Maria. I think they've enjoyed that themselves. If there was an angrier man in La Molina last night, I wouldn't have wanted to meet him, because this guy was furious. A wonderful first run, a chance at a first ever World Cup victory, and a DNF in the second run. You saw the frustration oozing out of Thomas Savard yesterday. However, he and Kevin Lemay are back. They're 2.2 seconds in front of Kubacka already. Haraus is the man they've got to worry about. De La Place, Burton will put in some good runs as well. And of course, Neil Simpson, the youngster, part of this group of athletes as well. You never discount anybody in alpine sport, because you just never know how many are going to fall over. We lost 9 in total in the men's sit-ski yesterday, so never say never. 6.10 for Savard inside the time, and you see the thumbs up from him. That's what he wanted. Now Kurt Grummelman guiding Kevin Burton this time. Former linguist for the US Navy, Kevin Burton. Degenerative eye condition. Former long-distance skier, biathlon and cross-country during the Sochi Games. Decided to give the shorter version a go. Like many, it's about finding a guide that you can work with, and a guide that can dedicate their time to you as much as anything. Kevin, he's on to his 3rd guide in the last couple of years. He and Kurt seem to have a good understanding. He's made a few World Cup podium places, has Burton. And as it comes to the line, he will be inside Kubacka then. So 5.25 seconds back from Savard. Now here comes the World Cup leader for this category. These two are quick. Maros Hudik is the guide. Haraus will be able to make out the colour of Hudik's outfit, but again, the athletes are listening to the instruction given through the Bluetooth headsets that they both wear. They can talk back if they need to. Haraus is behind Savard. This is what happened yesterday. And Thomas Savard put 2 good runs together. Haraus is chasing hard. Silver medalist at the World Championships. And he's just inside. What an interesting second run we're going to have then. 54.57 for the Slovakian. Said this yesterday, it's great to watch the synchronization of these two. I'm sure they'll get quicker. Remember, Simpson is so young. Just 16. Brother Andrew doing the guiding. Oh, a little wobble for Simpson, but he's kept himself together. and Scots are flying. 1.43. Wasn't too much. 3.22. He's into third here, Neil Simpson. Now with only Delaplace to come, is there a podium place for the young Brits? We'll find out. Second of the French pairings then. This is Hyacinth Delaplace. 22.34 through this section, and he's behind. 1.61 for now. Maxime Jourdain is the guide. I mentioned Delaplace started La Molina like a rocket, won the first giant slalom event. And he just sort of thought, hang on a minute, Kobatska and Herreros are in attendance, but Delaplace was the man to take the first day. True to form, what did he do on day two? He crashes out in the first run. Can he find a podium place run? Here he can. He's in front of Simpson. So Delaplace goes into third. And that brings us to the conclusion of the men's vision-impaired category. Heraus, Savard, Delaplace, Simpson, Burton, Kobatska, the world champion giant slalom man. As expected, struggles with the slalom. One Slovakian at the top, one Slovakian at the bottom. Then standing, coming up, Arthur Bauchet, winner of the giant slalom globe. Correction in the results in that, meaning that Bauchet has that honour as well. And down he comes then. It's real potential that the very first run of the men's standing event could be the fastest of the lot. Bauchet looking very good indeed during the slalom races. Oh, don't speak too soon, Alan. Commentator's curse right there. Bauchet didn't compete in Zagreb. Oh, and Bauchet goes down in the frustration. Well, he brings himself to a halt, and that is his winning run coming to a halt as well. The arms out to the side. Oh, to Bauchet. Wow, when you're having a bad day, you're having a bad day. He's now lost one of his ski poles as well. So Jourdain Brossin will be next to go. And the world champion, Paralympic silver medalist, is out on the final day of La Molina. He's meant to be warm this afternoon. Get the deck chair ready for Arthur Bauchet, because all he's got to do this afternoon is spectate. Brossin putting in some improvements throughout the course of the World Cup campaign. 25-year-old. Involved in a motorcycle accident in May 2009. Brossin moving through neatly and hits the line. 57.65. Bauchet has gone, and I can now tell you that Theo Rimeur will not start either. Not that slalom is massively Theo Guimaux's event, but you just never know with Theo. Martin Wirtz, 6th place finish in the World Championships. He's well up on Brossan already. I'll tell you now, with the exit of Bauchet early doors, this has turned this men's event on its head. I bet Kiveri and Lindström and Walsh and Friel are all licking their lips and can't wait to get on the course. Martin Wirtz is going great guns as well. 4:54 inside Brossan. Martin Wirtz is the early leader. Little smile towards the camera. Lindström, podium place yesterday. Saw him sat outside the venue cafe this morning. Asked him if he was expecting to do the same again. He answered quite firmly with absolutely. Lindström, a little bit like Kiveri, the only athlete from his country on the circuit. Just the one Swede, just the one Finn. Lindström dancing merrily through the gates here and will lead 50.99. Into first place goes Lindström. And that was a very energetic performance. This is Thomas Field, as you mentioned. He went to Zagreb, the only place that we've done World Cup slalom so far. Just a couple of days over there in Croatia. And Field had the best of it, however. With this race and the 2 slalom events in Morzine. Could be very interesting, the finish, especially now with Bauchet going out. Field looking pretty steady. Again, no use of the ski pole in the right arm. 32-year-old. Wife Evelyn. Field hits the line 55.17. He's quite a way back on Lindström. The next 2 to challenge then, Kiveri and Walsh. This is Kiveri. It's hard for me to explain to you, the viewer, just how relaxed this young man is. You see him at breakfast time. He's in the cafe at the venue just before, and he's just headphones in, completely zoned out to anything and everything around him. Oh, what a big mistake from Kiveri as well. Well, timing-wise, it might not be the best. He's managed to recover in the circuit, so that at least keeps him in the running. But after yesterday's 2nd place and a podium in the giant slalom, we were seeing the best of Santeri Kiveri. He got to the bottom, having had a very, very difficult patch during that run. Thomas Walsh looking to avoid a very unwanted hat-trick. He's gone out with a DNF on the last 2 days. He robbed himself of the chance of a 3rd place overall finish in the Giant Slalom World Cup. He will be determined. There'll be a bit between his teeth. He was in good spirits when I saw him yesterday afternoon. Part of a long list of DNFs yesterday. As I say, the one thing in his mind this morning will be to make it to the bottom and have a chance. And more than just that, 1.94 puts Thomas Walsh in 2nd position at the moment. It's Lindström from Walsh. Bauchet has gone. Kiveri has struggled. Davide Bendotti marked yesterday how he had a miserable start here in La Molina. On day number 3 was his first race in the giant slalom. He fell at the first gate. Not what you need. And the single leg skier from Italy is struggling again here. And down goes Bendotti. There's no hiding from the fact that he's out. Robin Kusch waiting in the wings. Kusch next to take centre stage. He make the most of a few high-profile mistakes. Boucher out. Kiveri struggling. Thomas Thiel looking a little off the pace as well. Can Kusch give us what we know is within him? These days a match, 108 behind at the moment. Still only 20. Silver medalist for Super Combined World Championships in 2017. As I say, we know it's there with Robin Kusch. Sometimes just finds the wrong line or has a struggle. Born with hemiplegia, affects the right leg of the young Swiss athlete. And Kusch is going to hit the line in 5th position, 56.18. Seven more to come. This is Roger Davy. Warren. Andorra not too far away, an hour by car if you go over the hill on the other side of the Roc Blanc course. Navi into the final two gates then, 55.93, he's into 5th place, less than 5 seconds back. It's one of the best positional runs for Davi in a little while. Niko Pijancic. Had some fun and games during one of the giant slalom events. Niko Pijancic started his run only to find one of the course workers still out tendering to the course, so had to do a rerun on day 2. It was a quick rerun as well. Didn't let it bother him at all, it seemed. ...21 years of age, lives in Kolobasnitz. To the line comes Pijancic. Next out is Hiraku Masawa. His time put him in 6th place in the end, 56.02. Oh, Masawa going out on the sides. He just wobbled the head. He'll be disappointed with that. Masawa goes. And that gives us the second of the two Japanese athletes then. This is Kohei Takahashi. 18-year-old with big aspirations of making it onto the Japanese team for the Beijing Winter Games. It might feel like an age away. But to Takahashi, that will be the dream every day until that opening ceremony, of which he will be desperate to be a part of. As always in sport, between now and the next Summer Games and Winter Games. New names will appear. Old names will decide they've had enough. Will Kohei Takahashi be a medal contender by the time we get to 2022? Through the line comes Takahashi then, 7.35 seconds down in his opening run. Manuel Bordanks. See the visible prosthetic on the lower right leg of the Frenchman. Oh, and Bordanks slides out. Not the first DNF for his week in La Molina. The French are having a slalom to forget. No Leander Kress on the final day. So we move to Marcus Nilsson Grasto of Norway. Another that is thinking about the future and not the present, just 17. Hans Bratman, the coach of Pedersen and Grasto, working on how to make his youngster quicker. This, of course, the debut World Cup season for Marcus. Oh, and he's got out of shape as well. Frustration for Grasto. Just about to say, I haven't seen many DNFs, and, well, the irony of crashing out just where your coach is standing is not lost on me. Pressure of being watched. That's the big moment. Arthur Bauchet is gone. And I don't think he enjoyed it. Let's take a look at those that did make it. Aaron Lindstrom, huge opportunity for a World Cup gold medal. Thomas Walsh in second, Martin Wirtz in third. Even Kiveri had a struggle as we move on to our final event of the morning session. It's the men's sitting slalom. Jesper Pedersen will go first. The rest that will follow, trying to chase down on yesterday's winner. We had the Norwegian back to his smiling best. Huge Manchester United fan. We had a keen eye on the Champions League draw yesterday, did Jesper Pedersen. He will be determined to get back-to-back slalom victories. He did that in Zagreb. Can he do it here in La Molina? Should he win again today, by my math, that would put him out of sight in the World Cup. But we'll see. Yesterday, we lost the world champion in the first run. The World Cup leader will be determined not to make such mistakes. See how he knocks over the poles with the outriggers most of the time, really just making sure that they're out of the way. Landing itself is an art form, and they're close together. He has to take it in the body, but Pedersen looking good. This will be around about the 57-second mark. 57.18. The 19-year-old sets the first time. Will it be the quickest of the lot? Should be Alex Cain's up next. It is. The Canadian, as we join him live out on the course. 1.59 seconds down in the early stage. 26-year-old coming to the line, 60.44, so Cairns is 3 seconds plus behind. This is Igor Sikorsky, bronze medalist at the World Championships. .64 down, Sikorsky, and the only Polish athlete in this World Cup at the moment. Battering that last post, and well, what a run this is. Sikorsky, 55-54. 28-year-old from Krakow. He's leading. Rene Di Silvestro showed the world that he is ever improving during the giant slalom. And that was just a prelude to what he can do on the slalom course. This guy is getting quicker and stronger, and as we talked about a little bit earlier, some people's aims are not this year or even next year, but the games a few years from now. Oh, Silvestro! Well, it's all right getting quicker and stronger. You do have to stay on the course. Reflection, Silvestro goes out. This is Marcus Kratterhofer, another that's put in some good performances here in La Molina. He's also been guilty of a few DNFs as well. Such is the sport. One course suits you, the next can make you fly off in any direction. Kratterhofer. I saw Marcus yesterday looking slightly chilled out. Quoted as saying that the monoski gives him an enormous freedom. Big fan of playing the guitar. He's on tune here, 1.67 ahead of Sikorsky. Crashed during a motocross race back in 2007, Marcus Kratterhofer. This monoski giving him that sense of speed and thrill, just as the motocross bikes would have done. And he's ahead. The Austrian leads, 0.57. There are some huge names in sit skiing still to come. Count this man into one of those. Now a World Championship silver medalist, and well, bucking Bronco at least. Holding on tight for the ride is Niels de Langen. How much will that have cost him? A lot already. The opening momentum goes for Niels de Langen and finds himself well over 3 seconds back. 84.52 seconds. Or percent was I going to say for the factor time, but Niels de Langen is out. 2 slaloms, 2 DNFs for the Dutchman. And he's wiped out one of the gates just as Taiki Mori was getting ready. Well, the 38-year-old will know all about being held at the gates. There's Coach Falco, who's just, I think, pointed out that that's 2 in 2 for Niels de Langen. Oh. He's broken the bottom of one of the gate poles, unfortunately. So we'll get that replaced in just a moment. A mixture of coaches as we see the affected pole. Here's its replacement. And there's the man that has to wait. The winner on the opening day.
Slalom. Està a punt de sortir ara mateix una petita pausa. Passen els derrapadors per deixar la pista a punt perquè segueixi la competició. Okay.
His giant slalom success was greeted by a huge smile. He says that he's found some form now. He struggled a little bit earlier on in the season. The World Championships was fairly early in the season, so for him, not the best of results, but certainly here in La Molina and heading towards Morsin, the experienced Taiki Mori has something more to give. Vaterhofer's time through this section, 22.62. Another gate pole goes flying, and I think Taiki Mori has broken that one. He came to a virtual halt there, but I think he's realised he was still within the course, so Taiki Mori will carry on. World Cup points on the offer. He's battered another one as well. Well, he really is catching them very low. And there it is. That might affect his own run, actually. It's just gone flying past him into the woods. And Taiki Mori has done some damage. He won't, in terms of time, he'll be quite far behind. But he's certainly hitting the gate poles low enough to snap them. And hard enough to snap them. Well, he is a powerlifter these days as well. I wonder if those big arms of his are doing the damage. Taiki Mori. Well, what a finish that is. How on earth has he got that far close to Vaterhofer, having nearly stopped at one point? What a run from Mori. Well, a bit like Mori, Jeroen Kampschreur will have to now wait. Crashed out yesterday. Knowing Jeroen, that would have been extremely disappointing for him. A perfectionist. He was talking to myself and Stephen Jameson the other day about being a massive fan of Formula One racing. He said, I'd love to get in one of those cars, but he said my shoulders are just a little bit too big. And he's absolutely spot on. He's big lad across the chest and uses that strength in his upper body to manoeuvre this monoski to perfection during the World Champs, of course. Every medal belonged to the Dutchman. He's not far behind Vaterhofer here. Now, if he can find the line that Mori did in the second half, Vaterhofer's time could be in danger, but what Kampschreur won't want to do is go out for a second day running, just like Niels de Langen did in this section. Kampschreur clinging on to the course a lot better. Dutchman aiming for 54.97. It'll be tight, but he will lead. Kampschreur by 0.51 goes in front. 6 more to come. So Kampschreur 0.51 ahead of Vaterhofer, 108 ahead of Sikorsky, 147 ahead of Mori. It's been a good start for those four. Kinakano 2.95 seconds down. Oh, and he might have gone the wrong side of that, but that's not for me to decide. It just looked as if his ski went over the gate the wrong way. Another piece of blue plastic flying down the course. Still going smoothly. Maya, Spiagas, Razdagan and Slivnik still to come as Kano gets across the line. 7.54 down, 102 exactly for the 32-year-old Japanese athlete. Third of the Dutch team, Floris Meijer. Nine-year-old, some 10 years older than the other two lads in the Dutch team. Already some 4 seconds back. Complete paraplegia after a freestyle accident back in 2012, Floris Meijer. Using those training sessions 4 or 5 times a week to try and improve. Only debuted a few years ago. Maya into the final few gates then. 1:03.62 for Floris. Spiagas Suarez. Final chance for him to race on home snow. Spiagas Suarez, 4.26 seconds down. Oh, that's very wide. He has made it through though. Once you get offline though, it's very, very difficult to try and get back in within the gates, within the course. Oscar has done that so far. 36 years of age. Originally comes from Alcaniz. Had a go at being a paracyclist and some paratennis in his time as well. Has Oscar Antonio Espariaga Suarez. As he comes to the line, it's 1:04.70 for the Spaniard. Luc Percival had a good time in the giant slalom. Slalom giving him some difficulties yesterday. Three years old. He lives and works in Cain, one of the venues for last season's World Cup. Not that we got to race there, it was completely called off due to far too heavier snow conditions. Luc Percival making his debut here in La Molina, and I'm sure we'll head to Morzine next week as well. Picked up his impairment in 2014, so this is all very, very new, and that's not a bad time at all, you know. He's into 7th place. I'm quite impressed with Luc Percival. He's ahead of Akira Kano with that run. Final athlete of the morning session then. This is Jernej Slivnik, the only Slovenian athlete on the circuit. Oh, he's got his arm caught in the gates. Can he make this turn? Yes, he can. So Slivnik will continue. Uses the recent World Cup and World Championship course in Kranjska Gora as a training base. A nice kid, actually. I saw him again this morning during breakfast. Seems pretty calm about it all. Last few gates for Slivnik, and he drops into 10th position above Espanaga Suarez. And a finish for Slivnik, so he's happy with that. Kampfer flying high, just like that balloon we saw a moment ago. Vaterhofer not far behind. Sikorsky and Mori means the top four are separated by 1.47 seconds. Anybody makes a mistake, and I'm sure Jesper Pedersen will be waiting in the wings. He'll be disappointed to be down in 5th place. Alex Cairns, Brastagan, Kano, Meyer, Slivnik, Espanaga Suarez. That is how we finish our coverage on the first run on our final day. 2 DNSs, 2 DNFs, more spills, thrills, and Alpine action still to come today. Don't forget, we start racing at 11:15 for the second run. It's the final time from La Molina, so don't miss it. Come back later on.